Hi, I'm Oberon Zell Ravenheart. I'm the headmaster of the Grey School of Wizardry. Well, the Grey School is sort of the best analogy I can give is a real-life version of the Hogwarts concept. We're a online school, virtual school, and we teach all aspects of wizardry, as in the wisdom of the ages, to students ranging from 11 on up. We have our youth students are from the 11 to 18 age range, but we have a significant number of adults. A good 3/4 of our students, in fact, are adults, ranging up into their 70s. So we really cover the full spectrum. The educational level is designed to be the equivalent of junior high through high school. We have 7 levels, year levels we call them, and 16 departments. We have 35 teachers presently, really amazing teachers with incredible qualifications, some of whom are college professors in their day jobs, and quite good, and over 200 classes currently available. As I said, there's 16 different departments of study, which are the bases of majors that can be taken. It's an apprentice program, apprentice level program, but it's based on the curriculum that was founded in Plato's Academy thousands of years ago and carried through to the structure of the guilds halls of medieval and Renaissance Europe and into the university structures of the modern world, all of which is part of a continuum. And so we teach the classics, in addition to obvious magical type studies, which include everything from ritual construction to spell work. We also teach things like Latin and history, geography, archaeology, chemistry, which is part of the alchemy department, cosmic sciences under the cosmological, astrological thing. We teach both an integration of the magical and what is now called the scientific. Wizardry is about wisdom. I mean, a wizard is a wise one by definition, and this ties in directly with the concept of philosopher, which means lover of wisdom. And so we could say we're teaching philosophy, we're teaching what used to be called liberal arts in a sense, but we're teaching it in the way it was done before the separation of magic and science in the 1600s. So it's great stuff. It's great stuff, and it has an esoteric mystique that creates an enormous appeal to students. And we feel this is part of what's been the problem with a lot of the educational crisis that we read about today in the public education system. It's become seen by students as something that has no intrinsic esoteric mystique to it. Something everybody has access to, so where's the fun in that? And students consider it to be something boring and they have to go. But if you look at the success of the Harry Potter saga, which is all based around a school, right? Why would a school be so enormously popular to be the best-selling books ever to young people? Well, it's because there's a mystique involved, in teaching this stuff. Much of it is the stuff that some of us who had a classical education grew up with and is no longer available. I just find that lamentable, and but it's correctable. An education like this was not something that once upon a time was available to anybody. It was a special privilege to be able to go to an academy and to learn this kind of stuff. And I think that recreating such academies, which is what the Witch School is doing and what we're doing with the Grey School, is just an important contribution to education in the 21st century. And the internet has made this possible in an entirely new way, as it takes place itself in a magical realm in which anything is possible. And we have worldwide students and worldwide faculty, and the classes are always open. At any time that people plug in, there they are, right there. And it's a wonderful thing.
The Grey School teaches wizardry.
Yes.
It does not have a religious base.
Right.
And could I have you speak to that for a little bit?
Oh, sure. Well, this was something that we tried to point out in the grimoire, the establishment of the grimoire. There's lots and lots of books and classes and even online schools and courses that are available teaching magical arts of one sort or another, but all of them are tied into a religious foundation, usually witchcraft. Virtually every one is promoting and teaching a particular tradition of witchcraft, which is perfectly legitimate. But wizardry is not witchcraft. Witchcraft draws a lot from wizardry, certainly. There's, a witch who is very capable and understanding should have a firm grounding in philosophy and history and the basics, in addition to things like herbalism and healing and spell work. But wizardry is, again, as I say, the wisdom of the ages, the Pythagorean mysteries, the teachings of Plato, and so on. It should go on. So we approach this as wizards are in every culture. There have been wizards. In every religion there have been wizards. Many of the great religions were founded by people who by any definition would be considered wizards. Moses was considered one of the great wizards of all time, right? And so was Zarathustra, and Jesus could be, and was, in fact, considered to be a wizard. And I think this is really crucial. Confucius, Lao Tzu, these are all great wizards. And the teachings that they put out were so important and so significant that they founded entire traditions and in some cases entire religions. But when you get to the core of what's going on here, the teachings are virtually the same of all these great teachers. They are teaching the perennial wisdom, the wisdom of the ages. But all of them had it in a way in their own lives where they were teaching it to selected apprentices who gathered around them, creating their disciples, their apostles, their students, their apprentices. And today we have access to all of this. It's no longer we just have one teacher's teachings available. We have the teachings of all of the great masters and all of the great teachers. And this is too big for any one religion. And so we feel perfectly comfortable of having many, many other people and groups and books and stuff out there teaching their tradition. What we're trying to do is teach the foundations that underlie all of them. And so considering that wizardry is great. And what has paved the way for us, of course, has been not just the Harry Potter phenomenon, which is obvious, but also the popularity of wizards in other aspects of modern contemporary popular culture, such as Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars series, all of these things. The thing that's fascinating is in all of the myths and stories, from Merlin to Star Wars to Lord of the Rings to Harry Potter, the concept of the wizard is basically the same. And it's always a very positive, good one. There is no negative connotations to wizards. That's the wonderful thing about it. I mean, you may get bad characters doing stuff in some of these things, but they're seen as the opposers, the opposition to the wizards. You will have a Voldemort, but he's the sorcerer, the evil sorcerer. You'll have a Darth Vader against Obi-Wan or whatever. But that's the bad side. That's not the good guy. The good guy, the wizard, the wise one, is he's not the same as the hero exactly. He's the teacher, the counselor, the mentor. The purpose of the wizard in the stories is generally to know stuff that can be used to mentor and teach and guide the young hero to his destiny, to achieve his destiny. And I kind of think this is an important purpose, and we need to have that. The role of the absence of good mentors in our modern society has been greatly lamented in many analyses of popular culture. The role of reclaiming the mentor, the father, the teacher, but it's not someone who is imposing their beliefs and teachings upon it. It's someone that the student will seek out and respect and honor. I think we first got a real good sense of that in the advent of the martial arts disciplines in this country, when young students wishing to enroll in this would learn respect for a master who would teach them. And this is a model that should be in all areas. And so we follow this, and we do this. And so we choose the very best teachers, the very best models that we respect, who have dedicated their lives to their teachings and to the wisdom and to passing on their lineage and their heritage and the vast amount of knowledge that they've gained. And we are now turning to make this available to new generations of apprentices.
Very true. Now, you're wearing your sparkly purple robe.
Yes.
And your Dumbledore hat.
Yes.
And your schoolmaster's cloak.
Yes.
And you've had a very distinct figure in the world. This is very obviously intentional.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could speak to the construction of your image.
Well, sure. No, not at all. Not at all. I think Terry Pratchett pointed this out very well in some of his stories. The pointy hat is an important part of the thing. Without the pointy hat, a wizard is just an old guy with a beard. But we see that the role of the appropriate vestments of any sort, whether it's a policeman in his uniform, the same guy without the uniform is not a policeman, The professor, the wizard outfit is basically a professor's outfit. It's the standard professor's outfit from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance to the modern academy. If you go to a commencement exercise at a modern university, like Oxford or something, you'll see a whole bunch of people dressed exactly like this. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here. And
it's a very good point. Not many people catch that.
Right. Well, that really is
absolutely true.
This cloak here is an official British headmaster's cloak. It's made by a company that does academic gowns and uniforms. That's what it is, and it is a wizard's cloak, And so, I think to reclaim the image is an important part of it too. If you just show up in jeans and T-shirt, it's not the same thing. It's like titles of respect. In the Grey School, our teachers are called Professor so-and-so. They're not just called, Sam and Joe and Susie, And I'm addressed as the headmaster because that's appropriate. It changes the dynamic in an important way. It establishes a relationship of respect and honoring, and something that people can then aspire to. And we've lost a lot of that in our modern culture. And I certainly, in my younger days, I was guilty of that. I taught school, public school in the late 60s, and I was all, full of this idea of equality and stuff. And I had kids calling me by my first name, It was just, that was stupid. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but in retrospect, that lost all their sense of respect. Like kids calling their parents by their first name, you just don't do that, really. So, but if you look at any profession, a baker has a baker's hat. The nurses have a nurse's uniform. The doctor has his uniform. Everybody does and should, because that's how we define people. So, I like it in the popular culture. We're seeing the hero image being revived in some really positive ways, of which some of the best has probably been, say, the Spider-Man movies. But we see many other examples that are exploring the archetype of the hero. And an element of that is often the uniform, the costume, that sets them apart from their ordinary day-to-day life, So
that's very true.
And so we need to do this. And so I delight in having the vestments, the academic regalia, because that's what it is. This is academic regalia.